Welcome to the party, pals. GRC Mafia. Right out of the gate, we are here to break down barriers, foster collaboration in community, working towards a more secure future for everybody. Definitely a learning and growing environment. And this is, so the middle of the month, we typically have talks the first 2 weeks of each month. Then we have open discussion on the third week. And then we have our job readiness and group resume review on the fourth week on Thursdays. So Thursdays is our primary meeting. And then we also have a Friday AMA as well. So this is our open stage one. I'm actually going to go ahead and drop the link right now. So if you guys do want to come into the green room, and then after this introduction, then I'll go ahead and pull everybody up on stage. Definitely, if you want to join the stage, you're definitely encouraged to do so. You do not have to turn on your video if you do not want to. Just your microphone is good enough. Or you guys can hang out and chat. That's perfectly fine as well. If you guys would like to share your LinkedIn or other social media, or even links and resources throughout, the best place to do that is inside of our Discord server. So YouTube will not allow you to post links into the chat, but you can join our Discord server, and in the live chat, you can go through and set that up and actually post links for your social media and other resources that you want to share, and it'll relay it to these other chats. Another portion is don't share anything that you don't want to be public, especially if you do come up here on stage. If you happen to do so, reach out to me on Discord, LinkedIn, or contact@studygrc.org. Additionally, even if we're on one particular topic, definitely feel free to drop questions, even if it doesn't pertain to exactly what we're talking about. Worst case scenario, we could circle back around to that. And you can always remind us as well. And then you guys may be familiar or not, some people just don't even realize yet, but B-Dubs does have a weekly cybersecurity GRC related blog article where she also provides a video read along as well. And we have our website, which one of the key things on our website is going to be our resources page, which is also going in chat. And then we do have our State of Study GRC coming up on the 1st at 6 p.m. So July 1st at 6 p.m. Central Time. We're going to go through a lot of different information, and we're going to do some different announcements for that. So definitely look forward to that. And then also next week, we have our job readiness group resume review session. So if you would like your resume to get reviewed or otherwise, the best way to do that is to go to our website. And then at the very bottom, we have the contact form where you can upload your resume itself. Just make sure it's redacted. That's the biggest thing we ask for everybody, because it does go through virus total and so forth, and you don't want to put your personal information out there. And we're not going to show it on screen if it's not redacted. And then we do also have the ongoing giveaway. Every single month we have a giveaway. This month we just weren't too sure, so we're just doing like a merch pack, which you can go through on our Discord server. Go over to the giveaways channel, and then you can click on participate in order to join that. And then the bot automatically draws. All right, let's see. And then also another thing, there's two other things that I wanted to mention before we go over to the panel stage. So we do have the badges. They're ongoing every single Thursday. You guys have the opportunity to go through and collect your badges. And then in order to do that, the instructions just went into chat, but you can also go over to our live chat channel and you just do GRC Mafia in capital letters, and the bot will auto assign you a check mark when it is successful. What that does is it's just open to anybody who joins during our meetings, and then you can get the GRC Mafia badge in the Discord server for the next week, and you get to unlock the Badge Hunters channel where we post like some, maybe behind the scenes or other types of information and so forth, and what's coming up and everything else as well. Of course, we are anti-paywall and everything else, so you don't have to pay for it. You just have to join our meetings and drop that in chat in order to obtain that role. We also added a Golden Finds channel as well, where we're just posting like interesting things we find and so forth. A lot of that information is also going onto our resources page too. And then the other part that I just wanted to do like a disclosure on here, let me go ahead and transition over here. So the other part that I wanted to just do a disclosure and announcement about is I did want to let everybody know that I did step down from Simply Cyber itself. So there were multiple different reasons for that. One of the biggest ones is it's just a misalignment of mission goals and so forth. And it's extremely difficult to play both of the roles itself. So as the director of community for Simply Cyber, and then also our mission with Study GRC, it's extremely difficult to balance those two out. And it's also very crucial for us to make it clearly identified on the fact that Study GRC is its own separate entity. It's not underneath the Simply Cyber name itself. Study GRC is incorporated in the state of North Dakota as its own entity. So I just wanted to let you guys know that, so that way you guys are aware on the fact that I'm no longer the director of community on Simply Cyber itself. And then without that portion, Let me go ahead and transition over here. And then anybody who wants to come up on stage, just let me know and I'll go ahead and pull you up. And this is our open stage, open discussion and so forth. Absolute worst case scenario, I'm just going to go through and talk about NIST. I see everybody grabbing GRC Mafia badge. We got Rania in chat. We got B-dubs. We got... I'm so horrible at names. RKCHES. Not even sure how to properly pronounce that. We got AB showing up. We got a few other people popping in as well. So GRC Mafia, Brexy's grabbing his badge. Rothnir, Cameron's popping in. Who is like God? Brocka Barebones. Bam. All right. And I'm just pulling up a couple of the other things here. So yeah, definitely join us on the 1st for the State of Study GRC. That's also going to open up, or we'll go through a presentation for multiple different things. We have like an agenda posted in that Badge Hunters channel as well for a rough agenda of what to expect. We have several big announcements for that, but then also we want to do like a financial disclosure and everything else regarding the company itself and the direction it's heading. Along with what the community wants. We did a survey itself, which we've been taking actionable steps on, and then also want to just obtain more feedback on what everybody wants. So that's one of the other things that we've worked on is going through and making some of the different content. Like we've been getting a lot more people from the EU, for an example. So we're starting to publish some of that content as well. Oh, yeah. Like Anti-Siphon just went through and finished their another one of the active cyber deception and defense or whatever courses. That's a pay it forward course too. That's my personal favorite. So I've taken like 3 or 4 of the what used to be called pay what you can, but they renamed it from pay what you can to pay forward what you can, which makes sense to be honest. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up on screen here. I really like their stuff. Let me go ahead and drag this over here. Bam. So I'll drop this link in chat, but if you guys are not familiar, Anti-Siphon has this pay forward what you can with SOC core skills, getting started in packet decoding, and a couple other things. We also have like getting started in security with BHIS and MITRE ATT&CK. And then there's also this active defense and cyber deception, which is a personal favorite of mine. It really gives you a different mindset of how to look at things within that cybersecurity realm. So rather than just being proactive with, controls and a checklist, active defense and cyber deception really like goes off of the pyramid of pain, where you're really trying to make it as difficult and as time consuming as possible. So the more complicated you can make it for an attacker, then, the more confusion, the more time, the more resources and everything else. If you go through and you just like give them an entire sheet of your entire network, and how it's mapped out and everything else, it's going to be way easier. But if you, add a ton of honeypots and you do all kinds of different stuff with your network and just name things, completely illogically, then you could actually really confuse them and make them waste time, really. So costing them money and so forth, making you not such a soft target and more hardening yourself. Definitely check that out. And let me throw that in chat here. They have several different ones. I think there's 5 or 6 different courses that they have that are pay forward what you can. Yeah, and like Barebones also states, that course is amazing. I plan on including the implementation of cybersecurity deception in the Home Lab series. Oh, it sounds like you're making a Home Lab series, huh? Public commitment. Yeah, and PBO's also mentioning defense in depth. That's really what it comes down to, is just making it as difficult as possible. So I think that course in particular, and it's very user-friendly. That's one of the biggest benefits with these particular courses, is these are live. You can actually watch most of these on YouTube, like the active defense and cyber deception is recorded on YouTube. And you can go through that. You can ask questions inside of their Discord server and so forth. or you can sign up for the next available one that's coming up, and then you can take it live and ask questions at that time. Very user-friendly as far as like entry level, even if you're not that far along or otherwise. They'll explain things for you. They'll break things down. They'll, work with you and so forth on it as well. So, bam. But yeah, just making it more difficult. Let's see. Barebones is saying, possibly so. Who knows what crazy ideas I may have that someone pressures me into. Yeah, you guys may not be familiar, but so Brock Barebones is the Steady GRC CISO, and then also he presented a few weeks ago, and he also did a presentation at, I believe it was Nolicon. And I mean, he holds a bunch of different certifications, which is just paper, and I believe he'd agree with me. But he has a lot of knowledge. He even got like some special honors thing from his college for GRC itself. So yeah, what a bloat, what clout to get a special letter that says, you're like on an honorary, GRC, whatever the hell. Yeah, being a GRC baddie. Let's see. I think Evan wants to talk about High Trust itself and how, we had a few different series for that. We are working on a video to combine all 4 of those. I think it was a 4 or 5 part series for the assessment handbook itself that we were going through. What's everybody else working on this week? Yeah, there's a.
Oh, you got me there. I know almost nothing about High Trust, although I do need to look into it more. But in terms of being able to talk about it, nope, not me.
Yeah, we went through and did like recap videos on the assessment handbook. One of the benefits is they do have their assessment handbook and their risk management handbook publicly available.
That is good.
Yeah, so that's a benefit. I think one of the biggest things I've seen is a lot of people are still under the assumption that it's just for healthcare, but it's really not. The presentation that Ryan Patrick, which is the VP of adoption over there, presented for us, and that was one of his big positionings, is the fact that it's not just healthcare anymore. They've expanded to a lot of other things at this point.
That's awesome. And I mean, honestly, given how broad of a technical scope you have to cover in healthcare, if it's covered up for healthcare, then that's pretty well established for anything else, I would think. Some terms and conditions apply, but
Oh yeah, that's right. And then also you have a presentation coming up for Deadwood as well. Bam.
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to that.
Fancy.
Super exciting.
What was your time slot?
October 9th at 10 a.m.
Is it a 15-minute or?
No, it's 50.
Oh, you got one of the 50
I got one of the big slots. Yep. There is no way I could give that talk in 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's
have it actually be worth anything.
Yeah, so he did present for us about cybersecurity on a shoestring, and I think that came out to about 50 minutes or 43 minutes or something along those lines. I'll drop that in chat as well. Really good information.
Exact same talk, just cleaned up a little bit more.
Yeah. There we are. If you guys also didn't know, we do have this entire playlist on YouTube for just presentation. So after we have a presentation, I'll go through and I'll edit that out and take just the presentation and post it separately a few days later. Like last week, we had Kelly from Black Hills present about the value of GRC. That total presentation came out to 43 minutes, and we published that separately on the channel as well.
Kelly is awesome.
X.
That was a really insane talk. I had to rewatch it twice because I wanted to, just to get the information.
I've found that to be the case with almost anything Black Hills related that I've participated in, whether it be just a talk or one of their courses. I have to go back through 2 or 3 times to make sure I actually got everything.
Yeah, she threw a bunch of information out there in 43 minutes. What's coming up next for you, B-dubs? So you finished your CISSP study group itself, and that's publicly available forever.
Yeah, so I have still been working on the CISSP study group, kind of on the backside, uh, modifying, trimming up some videos, taking down that 2-minute timer at the beginning, just little things, and working on the website, working on my blog website as well, and cleaning things up a bit. Gonna hopefully implement some better organization of the blogs now that I've got a few. Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing.
Prexy says CISA.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God. The study groups are rough. I think the CISSP, especially that being your first study group, I mean, that is extensive. But I mean, at least something like the CISA is like a fraction of that, probably 1/5 or 1/3 equivalent in material.
Yeah.
But
agreed. CISSP is absolutely immense.
yeah, welcome to the party, pals, Antello, and then Luke as well.
Welcome,
GRC
welcome.
Mafia.
Yeah, that was a pretty big time commitment, but I made it.
Bam. I mean, it was what, 31 sessions or something like that over like almost 4 months, I think.
Yeah, I started the first week of March was the first session, but the week before that, I was, making the videos announcing it and ethics and all of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So basically, in short, all you have to do is just spam B-dubs with requests and everything else. Come together as a community and just, at her on the Discord server saying that it has to be the CISA or CISM or who knows. I mean, you also went through and completed the CCSK, I believe, and the ZT.
The CCSK, CCZT, and then recently, like the week after the study group, I went and got the what is it? The API Sec certified practitioner. So that's ASP from API Sec University.
Yeah, and so Pablo as well was talking about C++ code. We were just throwing out some of the different certifications, although a lot of these different things, including the CISSP, does have a experience requirement along with these other ones, except for a couple of those. But like the CISA and CISM do have experience requirements for sure. But one of the biggest things is you can go through and you could study one of these certifications without actually passing the exam. Just because you study the material doesn't mean you have to go through and take the exam itself just to get the information and knowledge.
Yes, I do not have the CISSP and I do not intend to take the CISSP, but it was great knowledge to learn. So learning never hurts, right?
Whereas Evan over here has an addiction.
Facts.
So, yeah, that funny story is CISSP was the second cert I ever got. I went Server Plus, then CISSP, and then went back for the rest of them.
Yeah, and like Luke's
A
also
fun
mentioning,
summer of studying.
Yeah, you like knocked out a bunch of them in a pretty short period. Luke said that he's going for that SecX and then also the CISM.
Oh yeah, those are both fun exams. SecX more so.
Yeah,
that was really fun.
Yeah, even though I can't actually obtain, so you could also take the exams, but you're not allowed to say that you have the certification and you can't actually obtain the certification. And like one of the biggest things is like the CISA, I think it's right around $700. I think it's like $760 or something like that. So you could go through and take the exam, but you are now pending. You can't actually go around saying that you have it because you can't obtain it until you get your years of experience. So I am a member of ISACA, so I don't know. I'll probably go through, like I was actually looking at that CET, which is I mean, honestly, it looks pretty good in my opinion. I'm not big with paperwork, but getting the information out of there, it looks really nice. So that's certified in emerging technology.
Oh yeah, the CET. I want that one. It just looks pretty.
Yeah, that's the only thing that really drew me to it. So the CET from ISACA, the last time I looked is it does not have experience requirements, but what you do is you go through and you take each one of these. So you have to take an exam for cloud fundamentals, blockchain fundamentals, AI fundamentals, and IoT fundamentals. After you complete all 4, then you can apply for the certification for CET, for certified in emerging technology.
Which
it's not
each test though is like $200 or something, right? So to get the CET is quite expensive for what it
correct.
is.
Yeah,
It just
but I
looks
definitely
pretty.
I don't want to push that you should be running off getting paperwork and so forth. But even just studying these, it like looks really appealing. And blockchain looks like it's going to grow pretty dramatically over the next 5 years for audit. Regine's asking about the CGRC. That was previously known as the CAP. What are your guys' thoughts on the CGRC?
I mean, I'm not thinking about obtaining any certification right now, so that answers the question, right?
Right. I looked at the CGRC before. It is, when I looked at it, it was very expensive. So like the exam itself isn't horrible in compared to the market, but I think it's still like $800 or like $860 or something along those lines. It has a 2-year experience requirement, and it largely, if you look at the requirements for the CGRC and its domains, and you look at the 837, it is very similar. And I have heard people also talk about how it really looks like they took the 837 and made it into a certification. So,
yeah. So currently on ISC Squared's website, the CGRC exam is $599 for the Americas.
okay. Yeah, and like I was looking at like the training, it was, I think the lowest I saw was like $1,200 or something along those lines.
I think they give if you're trying to get like in-person training or a live training to go through, then yeah, but you get access to the training materials for free through ISC Squared.
Bam.
There you go.
Yeah, and so that's a 2-year experience requirement. And I think one of the biggest issues with the CGRC is that a lot of companies are still putting in on the job descriptions as the CAP. Like it's been CGRC for like over 2 years and they still haven't updated their listings. They just renamed the cert. Brexy's saying to skip the CGRC. I think it really also depends on what route you're going too. Like I don't plan on pursuing any of the ISC Squared because I'm already part of 2 organizations and I can't get the value out of a third. I struggle just to get the value out of 2 orgs. But if you already have certs, especially information security side of the house, like that's why I didn't go with ISC Squared, is because they're way more cybersecurity technology than GRC.
Right. And that makes sense, especially from your perspective and your usage case. Like I have ISC Squared certs, I have ISACA certs, I have some CompTIAs, I've got certs from providers all over the place. In all honesty, I probably would skip the CGRC as well. Personally, I'm going to. I might look over the training materials, and at least so I can clap eyes on what it's like if somebody asks me about it, because I'm not super intimately familiar with what's on that exact cert. But I think that there are better options unless you are only wanting to go GRC and nothing else. But also, it's still $600.
Yeah.
Kind of a bitter pill to swallow for what would essentially be probably a mid-level cert, I would imagine it being. Actually, hang on a second. Let me take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're going to pull up that map.
Yeah.
I currently
see where
only
he ranks
have
it.
Yeah, there you go. I currently only have CompTIA certs, so at least from the big providers. So I'm not part of any orgs currently. I'm trying to avoid that as long as possible. So not looking to get any right now. But if I had to pick, I'd go ISACA.
Yeah, it looks like at least Paul Jeremy's roadmap is putting it on par with ISACA's C-Risk and GAQM's CISSM, the Certified Information Systems Security Manager.
Yeah, and I think what it really boils down to, like we've already stated, is like it really depends on the individual and what your guys' goals are too. Like I'm 100% dedicated to GRC, so that's why I picked ISACA and then IAPP.
Well, and that's why the CISSP really isn't even on my list, because it's IC squared, and I don't want to pay those annual fees. And yeah, I'd just rather
Like,
not.
IAPP has tons of information in the privacy realm. Like, I don't have, it takes a full-time job to keep up with everything that they put out between all the webinars and publications and articles and everything else. Like, yeah, I can't even get the value at it. Like that's a full-time job just to follow these, some of these orgs. So
yeah,
and I know ISC squared is very similar. They have tons of different stuff that they put out. So, and then also, Jasmine posted the SCCE. That is also a known one too. They, if I remember correctly, they have multiple different certifications, but they are known as well. I think that I'm neglecting the name of it, but I believe they're somehow associated to the SOC 2 org as well. IAPCA or whatever it is. I don't remember it offhand.
Yeah, there's too many acronyms. I don't remember it.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of it all.
There's
the
another
majority of where I've seen the SCCE is in healthcare.
Yeah. There's another one that's a more practical based GRC cert that I've seen mentioned that I need to do more research in myself. And it's through a company or a place called, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, Mosse Cybersecurity Institute.
Mosse Institute, yeah.
Mosse, yeah. And it's the MGRC. And it's a more hands-on GRC.
I'm familiar.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if it's worth it or not. I've seen the name thrown around. I need to look into it more. But,
yeah, I've mentioned it before. Oh yeah, and also Luke mentions that he also has the ITIL. Man, we have a lot of terms getting thrown out in the first 30 minutes here.
Yeah, I'm gonna let my ITIL expire as well. Like that one and like the Linux Institute, the LPI Linux, whatever, that one I'm not planning on renewing either.
Yeah. So what I was going to throw out there, so regarding the Mosse Institute, they have their MGRC. Last time I checked, it was like $600 or something in that realm. The big thing with that is that they market it as like 600 plus hours of material. It is a very unique certification. So Mosse Institute, if you look into them, they are based out of Florida, so they are US based. They do work with military as well, but it doesn't seem like they have a large contract with the military per se, but they do some military trainings in regards to cybersecurity and so forth. They have several other things on there. Like absolutely hate the term boot camp, but they also do have a boot camp option that is like a short series introduction to a large realm of different areas of domains. And it's like a flat rate of like $400 and you unlock all of them. Now I've signed up. One of the unique things with Mosse Institute is that you can sign up and register on the website, and you can get like up to 100 hours worth of content completely free, because the big thing with them is they tell you up front, and this is one reason why I don't really bash them, is because they tell you up front, like, sign up, try it for the 100 hours or whatever else to see how it can work out for you, because it is extremely difficult. It's not like a typical certification or training program or otherwise. And you're really kind of on your own. So you get grading and so forth, but they literally give you assignments in the panel, and then you have to go through and complete those assignments and projects, doing your own research and everything else. And then you submit your project, and then somebody will actually review that and say, hey, you could improve on this, or great job, or you could do better with this, which I think is like the large portion of that price, is because somebody's reviewing it and grading it and giving you feedback.
Right.
But it is insane. Over 600 hours worth of projects and hands-on.
Yeah. Another thing that I think is interesting looking at their website, all of their certifications are based off of the Australian Signals Directorate's Cyber Skills Framework, which is an
What was
interesting
that?
choice. Huh? Mossy.
What? Yeah, what?
Their
what did you
GRC
say
stuff.
Mhm.
The Australian Signals Directorate has a cyber skills framework.
Yep.
And that's what Mossy uses for all their stuff.
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting, but I don't think it's for the light of heart, because over 600 hours of self-motivation and keeping up with that.
Yes.
I can outright state I've never seen any of their certifications on any job descriptions, and I have never met anybody who's actually obtained any of them.
Agreed.
So,
I haven't either.
It's pretty crazy, but I do kind of like their method as far as like, here you go, now it's on you kind of aspect.
Right. I do like the practical aspect of it. So that's something that I would look into, especially if you're really wanting to, hey, GRC is for me, this is what I want to do. At least look into it more.
Luke, I barely have 600 hours of motivation to keep myself alive.
And same. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And so I'll drop the link for it and everything for the Mossy Institute one. One of the biggest things, like we've said, is that like go through, sign up, give it a feel, because you can unlock the 100 hours for free. And you'll see how their system actually works and like what's expected. So it is also self-paced, which is another pro, but still, it's pretty crazy. If you actually go through that entire program, like you would have dozens, maybe even hundreds of projects to showcase. Like it goes through, like you can look at the syllabus for it, and like you go through and you make numerous different policies. You go through audits, you go through gap analysis, BIAs, different frameworks, all kinds of different stuff that you would end up working with to some capacity. And they have a Discord server for support if you guys get stuck too.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing.
Welcome to the party, pal, PBO.
What's going on? Hope everybody's doing well. Shout out to the cloud certs.
Shout out for AI being GRC's responsibility.
It's not. We actually put it in AI. We put it in, what's Microsoft? I can't even think. We put it in ChatGPT and Copilot. They said it wasn't. So I'm gonna have you put it in there. We need the output. I grabbed a couple big guns and asked them. They're like, "Nah, man, you're right." I said the kid's been killing me on the YouTube.
So
Hey,
you're
I
saying
said,
Copilot
nah, man.
is the right one.
Just put in either one of them. They said it was we were not in there. We're in there, but we got a small part, teeny weeny part. But
I wrote a blog on AI governance just for you, PBO.
I saw it. I saw the subliminals in there. I took it personal. I'm like, I'm not gonna share a blog because I think she's personally attacking me.
You should have taken it personal. It was for you. I started writing it Thursday after the stream. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I did it all for you.
I feel touched.
You should.
I feel touched.
Yeah, exactly, Cam. AI told PBO, you don't need to audit us.
That's
exactly what just happened.
That is funny,
Cam.
Cam.
Like,
I like it.
Nah, fam, we're good.
That's funny. I like that, Cam. Shout out to Cam.
The 4-year-old saying, no, it's fine. I'll be okay on my own. You guys go watch a movie.
Yeah, right.
Actually, they said no when they said it went to the AI engineer, not us, because it was an output. But we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. Shout out to us.
Later. I mean, this is open discussion.
Y'all got one tomorrow, right? You can save it for lunchtime tomorrow. Y'all got one tomorrow. Oh.
We also have a question here. So, do you think universities need to step up to the plate where catering for GRC is concerned, especially in the context of compliance? I will say that I will sign over my firstborn if there's a GRC PhD program. If you find one, let me know. I will. There's
some out there. I've seen a couple master's programs.
I have not been able to find anything that's to a PhD level in GRC.
Yeah, I think that's actually an excellent question. And you hear this discussion a lot. a lot of people don't think security at GRC is an entry level kind of thing. So a lot of people think that's one reason they're pushing it for a master's. But I mean,
I
it's
don't
kind of
think it
debatable.
is.
So then why would you put it as an undergraduate project? So that's kind of some of the discussion. But I taught at a university, and we had a couple courses, policy kind of procedures. I wouldn't say an assessment. It was kind of more policies and procedures, the kind of first part of that.
Yeah, just
National
my own
University in San Diego has a PhD CY in GRC. I'll put the link in chat.
Here, I'll be back. B-Dubs is in charge. I'm gonna go sign some paperwork.
Yeah, I saw the look.
I've looked around and everything else. Like, I absolutely love GRC, especially from the study standpoint. What I was gonna add on this, and I'd like to hear everybody else's thoughts too, is that GRC is already sprinkled into a lot of the different programs. So yeah, and I've also heard like the cybersecurity master's degree from WGU has quite a bit of GRC built into it. I think the part where like people like they don't position it as GRC. So if they go over like compliance or they go over audit, they're not telling the students, hey, this is GRC. So they're teaching some of these skills and so forth and information, but they're not positioning it as GRC. GRC is supposed to be a organizationally wide program.
Be right back.
Yeah, and like
tell Annie we got to move to San Diego now.
Oh, are you going GRC now?
We'll see.
I mean, I just, we talked about this a ton, Chris, and you're 100% right. I just never seen it done in a enterprise way. Unless, once again, I worked at Fortune 500 pharmaceutical companies. They did it right because I think it's CFR 21 is for pharmaceuticals, and they had a lot of HIPAA and high trust. So I seen them do enterprise. DOD didn't do it. The state did a little bit. I just don't see companies mature enough to do enterprise risk like that. When I see it done, it's usually coming from finance, not the IT org. So,
yeah, I think it is sprinkled in. There's a couple other questions we have here too.
Yeah,
that also relate. So, like Antello also mentions that my company, our head of compliance is an attorney. I think that's pretty common from the business side or legal. Oh yeah,
I'm trying to interview one. But yeah, when I worked at the big companies, they were all attorneys, and I used to work with a ton of attorneys. So, and like you said, they did the compliance and the contracting part, like we talked about, Chris. If you do service essay inside NIST, the first part of that is make sure security's in your contracts. You can audit it. You got to do a certain level of compliance. Shout out to my man. That could be ISO. Of course, I prefer NIST, but blah, blah. All that should be in the contract. So legal handles all that at the big companies I work for.
What do you guys think, Evan or B-Dubs, on more GRC out there?
I do think it would be a good thing. The master's program that I went through did have a decent amount of GRC in there. Even if it wasn't the GRC course itself, other courses also covered it as well, at least to varying degrees. The bachelor's program didn't have as much, though. The bachelor's was more aimed at just foundational. Here's your network plus. Here's your sec plus. Here's general SOC. Here's what the SOC's going to do. Stuff like that. How to write a pen test report.
Did you have anything to add there, B-Dubs?
I'm distracted by space tacos in chat, but yeah, I definitely agree that there could be more, and there may be a lot, but just outlining that is GRC instead of just talking about compliance and audit, and you have these students that don't realize, but yeah, that's my thoughts.
Also, another one that Brexy mentioned that kind of plays off of it too is they need to add GRC to MBA programs. I think we talked about it last week about the cost, GRC being a cost center or not. And And like that's the thing, is that a lot of people that I've talked to and met within the GRC realm, they mostly get brought in from the business side, and I truly think that that's the reason why, is because the C-suite can talk to them. They understand these people, so they throw them into the GRC realm. That's kind of my perspective of how I've kind of seen.
It's
so
not
far.
the sweet seat. You got to talk to the auditors. So when Booz and all those guys usually are business MBA guys. So it's like, and most time I see GRC has become because you have some kind of federal requirement, being PCI, NIST, FISMA, something like that. Like most times I get hired, I'm doing some IRS Pub 1075 in there. So that's kind of my background, my differentiator to most people. So that's usually why I get hired. They report to the IRS. So shout out to the IRS.
Yeah, and like Who Is Like God mentions that's the only reason they're going for an MBA. Yeah, I think it's way more common.
I'm so old. When I did my MBA, it wasn't even an option to do GRC. They barely had IT when I went, but I'm so.
Yeah, like I was playing around with it and so forth. Like many of you guys know, like that's what I'm prepping up for, is to go for one of the degrees and so forth. And like what I've really settled on is the BA for business administration, and then the master's in cybersecurity as a combo for it. I was sincerely considering a legal degree, but that ain't my potato. Like,
I almost did that. But they have, and I've been thinking about getting one. I'll shoot you some information. They got legal certificates that's heavy on compliance.
Yeah, I was actually looking at like almost like a paralegal certificate. It's like 9 months.
Yeah, it's a little higher than a paralegal, but of course, you know, and I see with my background, I thought that would be a nice, if I want to be a compliance director, but it's too late for me.
Oh, so, whatever, yeah.
Too late. I don't want to do that.
You practically are, just without the title.
Facts. Shout out to Space Tacos with our excellent question in chat.
Which one?
How far can you go with zero certifications?
I think that's a very loaded question. I think that depends on the person's background, their region, so many different variables. Because like, I know people who got into GRC with no background in GRC, just had soft skills and still don't have certifications, and they're running state programs.
See,
so
yeah, I don't have a lot of certifications, but I got a few degrees, so that might be cheating in her question. So I had a bachelor's of computer science and I had an MBA. I didn't have any certs, but I came up through programming, so that's how I got promoted. But I didn't have a lot of certs. Then when I went to DOD, you have, if you look at 8570, you got to have certain certs. Then I got the Security Plus. I didn't quite make it to the CISSP. That's why I signed up for B-Dub's course to help me get over the hump. 20 years later, I'm going to try to get it. Maybe I'm tired. But no, B-Dubs, I don't think you need certifications. Depending on your org and how your org is run, I think it's a lot of organization. Some organizations are certification heavy and degrees heavy, and some orgs it's like, if you good, you good. So I think it depends on what organizations. I've seen people with zero certs and a bachelor's degree, and they were running departments. So I think it depends on the org.
Yep. So it depends on the org, but it also depends on who you know. You can absolutely grow in this career with zero certs and zero degrees, but you have to have the experience, and you have to know the right people and be in the right place at the right time. It is incredibly difficult, and I don't recommend that route. But I don't recommend loading up on certs either. So,
what's your blueprint then?
What's my blueprint?
Yeah, you telling do's and don'ts. What's the blueprint?
Go make some friends. That's my blueprint.
Boo! I don't like people. Boo!
I think what frustrates a lot of people is the fact that everyone wants a roadmap, but there is no dead set roadmap. Everyone has a different background and goals and experience in different regions and areas. There's no dead set roadmap.
B-Dubs, if you type any harder, I'm gonna mute you.
Sorry, that's me.
My fault.
It's not me.
My bad.
I apologize, B-Dubs.
Yeah, everyone was thinking it was B-Dubs.
Yeah, she looked like she was typing hard. I apologize. Go ahead, Chris. My bad.
Do I need to
Yeah, I
show
think-
my hands the whole
Oh,
stream?
it's all good.
You're good. You're good. He was pounding up there. I was like, who the hell's in there?
I
It's
think
not
that's
me.
the biggest problem, though, is the fact that there's not a one size fits all. And so, yeah, I mean, I think it depends. So I dropped it in chat just a moment ago for the certification industrial complex. So Graham Helton did a really great article on that. There's a YouTube video as well. I highly recommend to read through that. The overall point of that entire article is to look at the ROI. Like, don't go around just grabbing certs, hoping that it helps and everything else. Certs are very expensive. And especially with that experience, it can actually make you look bad if you just stockpile a bunch of paperwork. I've seen people like go through the WG program, come out with 12 CompTIAs, and then they struggle to get a position because they have no experience. And then like they take 6 certs off and then they get a job. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
No, I think that's part of the blueprint is certs, mix and match them to the job. You can put them in the AI, they'll tell you what you need. And I think the customization of what you're trying to do. Like I got degrees, so I need many certs. If you don't have degrees, you need certain certs. So that's part of the blueprint is customization. AI your background. I'm trying to make up new terms. AI your background.
Well,
I don't think B-dubs like that term. But,
and you don't have to list every cert that you have on your resume when you're applying to a job.
Facts.
Just list the ones that are relevant. Or like if you have, different levels of like Security Plus and Security X, just list your security. Well, never mind. You need the Security Plus on there. I was trying to give an example, but if there's different levels, you could place like the highest level cert, right?
You have to have CISSP as an entry level, though.
So
false. I must have facts.
No. But too, what I did is a lot of times is remote jobs. They were hard to get, so I took a lower job. So I took my MBA off because people said with an MBA I was overqualified. I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to work in my pajamas, man. I'm not trying to. So, but I took it off and I started getting more interviews. So that's what I mean by customizing to the job and what you're trying to do. Now, if I'm trying to be a director or something, I might put the MBA back on. But depending on the job and the role I'm trying to do, that's once again trying to customize it for the job role.
Yeah, very true. And another thing that I will also chip in is don't sleep on, especially earlier in your career, how much benefit you can get from, shameless plug, home labbing of some way or another. And in GRC, it can be as simple as going to ChatGPT and tell it to generate me an idea for a fictitious company of, such and such size, and then build out, risk documentation or, compliance documentation for that company. That way you're not, it's not sensitive information or anything. Build out a security program, put it up somewhere that you can point to in an interview or something like that. There's so many different ways. Get a CISO assistant Docker instance up and running on your own home computer and go to town.
And the value of that is because, like, especially if you go to these in-person meetups, conventions, and so forth to network and make a friend, then you can also talk the talk. Because just grabbing a cert isn't necessarily going. Like, I've talked to people with a bunch of certs who doesn't know it all. And so, that's a really big aspect is that, when you actually go through and do it by hand, then you can actually talk to it. Like, just because you go off and you do the CISA, for an example, doesn't mean that you've gone through and done a risk register even, or whatever. Like, there's so many different hands-on things you could do in GRC and the information security realm. And then when you get that interview or you network with people, then you can actually talk the talk and be like, oh yeah, I've done this, or, oh yeah, I was playing around with that, or, whatever else. And you get the lingo down way better.
Right. Yeah. Because you can sit there and talk with somebody and say, hey, not only do I have the knowledge and can spit out all of these abbreviations and whatnot, here I can actually show that I know how to actually do it. I can show you I've done it. And especially earlier in your career, that is invaluable. You cannot put a price tag on how much that can help.
Yeah, and GVO Den also mentioned you have to know standards, and how else do you learn them unless you take a structured approach to get through courses/certs. I'm not exactly sure which direction they were headed with this portion. So like we did mention, is you could study a certification and not actually take the exam. But then also a lot of these different standards and frameworks out there, you can go through and learn it. I think in my opinion, the best way to do it is to read the docs. Like, you're going to have to do that when you get a position anyways.
Facts.
I've learned
Yeah,
way
100%.
more by just reading the NIST docs than anything else. So yeah,
Facts.
I mean, yeah.
Agreed,
So-
because we use NIST at work is what we base all of our stuff off of, and you can read online and take certs all you want or take cert exams all you want, but until you actually sit down and go over what the actual framework is, what it's comprised of, what it does, it's not going to gel as well, and you're not going to have the ability to speak to that knowledge and be really convincing of, hey, hire me, I know what I'm doing.
And also, like, I also dropped the link for our resources page, which is constantly building. We're definitely looking for more stuff to put on our resources page. There's even a form on there where you could drop it in Discord to add things to it. Community built, community driven. But also, like, all of the information is really out there somewhere. It's just finding the information to study. The two big things that I've noticed that there's not much on is like SOC and ISO. Those are the two like restricted ones. But those, other than that, like, I haven't really struggled finding resources to learn a particular topic or framework or standard or otherwise. Like even high trust, which a lot of people look at as like a paywalled, standard really, and certification.
The documents are available.
Correct. Exactly.
You just have to give them your data.
No, you can actually access it with no nothing. So they have their risk assessment handbook and their risk management handbook and everything publicly available with no information needed.
Also, I just want to point out that comment from Space Tacos that PBO should do a fireside reading of NIST 800-53 docs. Get a cardigan, comfy chair, a fireplace, and a pipe, maybe some brandy, and just read it out loud by the fireplace. Yeah, that sounds great.
Full send.
ISO 27001 on a thunderstormy night. Oh, perfect sleep.
I'll say, Chris noticed I got a lot of videos on 53, but that's it.
Come
that's
on, PBO.
That is interesting.
Yeah, and also like Cam mentions, I've learned a ton from this group and about job searching specifically for what do you or transferable learning skills.
Facts.
I mean, that's the big thing is getting other perspectives. Drop it in Discord. There's tons of people in there in the industry, studying for the industry and so forth with all kinds of backgrounds and areas. So yeah, leverage the community. And then there was one other thing here too. Let me go through this real fast. So like Cam had mentioned, was your corporate job SC the only thing standing in the way of NIST knuckle tattoo? No, actually what's standing in my way is my wife. I mentioned the tattoo and she immediately said no. So looks like we're going to have to do it on site at Wild West or something like that. We'll see.
I'll bring the equipment. We can not on the knuckles. We can do it across your forehead.
Hey, even better. Yeah, face tattoos. Why not? Let's send it.
Oh yeah.
And then also, who is like gone also asked, is the ISO 42001 still live happening? Now, for transparency reasons here, like I have absolutely no idea. I'm gonna say at this time, probably not. The main reason being is because we do have deadlines to schedule out the videos and everything else. And at this time, it's just pretty close to that realm. So we haven't got confirmation. We had a meeting about it and everything else and so forth, but we haven't got, yes, we are 100% doing this.
Who's going to do it? You don't have to answer.
Don't throw anybody under the bus.
That's fine. Just say pass. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, like I have no problem being transparent, but I don't want to like throw anybody under the bus or otherwise. I think it's awesome that they're willing to provide for the community and everything else and give us their time, but it probably won't happen this next month. We'll probably have to schedule them out for the following month and just back it up a little bit there. So let's see. And that's also like how corporate works. Like people have schedules and everything else too. And also our meetings are 6 p.m. So it's after hours for a lot of people too. What do you say about the AIGP certificate? I don't know. I think it's an AI one, but I am not really familiar with it.
I'm not certain that it is.
Me either.
Yeah, so it's through IAPP for Artificial Intelligence Governance Professional.
So it is. Just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who has actually taken this. I haven't really looked into it. I know IAPP is really at the front realm of organizations for privacy. So yeah, like especially for the privacy realm, like IAPP is a pretty good option and really like the go-to for privacy realm.
3 hours.
But I'm not familiar with it.
Wow. How much is that?
It's probably like $500. Purchase exam. I think I'm signed in right now.
Oh, it came up.
Yeah, I don't want to dox myself here. $800.
Ooh, you say 800?
Yeah, let me go ahead and pull it back up here.
Wow, that's the ISP language.
Yeah, so this one is $799, $649 for the member price for the exam.
I've never seen that on a job description, so I don't know. If I pay that much, I need to see it on the job.
Yeah, this is one of their new ones. The ones that you typically see from IAPP is going to be that CIPP and the CIPM are the only two I've personally seen on job descriptions. But maybe you're looking at a particular job that is asking for it. So
I think it's a new cert just came out.
Yeah, I believe so.
So you're not going to see it anywhere yet.
Unless you're actually really trying to position yourself for that AI realm for governance, like that's a pretty hefty price tag.
Facts.
Mhm.
Facts.
Did I miss anything else in chat while I was going through those?
Yeah, King and Jameson had a few questions. Yeah.
What about High Trust or what? High Trust, One Trust? I don't know that much about One Trust either. I've seen some of it, but they have certificates and they have certification.
I mean,
also McCoy's conversation as well would be really good to touch on. McCoy. I'm not sure.
McCoy.
My apologies.
I see One Trust used a lot, so that cert's probably pretty good. Archer certs is super hot too. You get those.
Well, and One Trust seems popular for both healthcare, but then also education, isn't it?
Yes, I think it's more medium-sized companies too. But yeah, I've seen it.
Especially if you look in your area and there's a lot of companies using One Trust or asking for it. Like it might not be a bad thing. I don't know their pricing or.
That was going to be my next question. As long as the pricing's not too out of whack, that's not a bad. Vendor Pacific is never too bad because certain companies will be looking for it, especially if they got clients using it from a consulting basis.
Which question from McCoy, Evan?
Oh, he had several. He was talking about, about degree and best ways to do stuff. He had quite a few.
Yeah, I'm like Evan. There was quite a few in there I saw too.
Yeah, Rania was answering a whole bunch of them. She was doing a really good job keeping up.
Yeah, I saw a portion about like C++ and C# and Python discussion. But if we do miss any type of questions or otherwise, definitely feel free to ask it again or just be like, hey, I feel neglected. Come on, GRC Mafia, do better. Like, just let us know. Let's see. But yeah, McCoy, if you want to like recap that, then we can go ahead and pull it up here.
I'm blaming the moderator. I think the panel's doing a good job. I'm blaming the moderator.
Yeah, come on, PBO, do better.
Shout out to
PBO.
I'm blaming the moderator.
Space Tacos did also say follow up. I'm most likely going to get the Sec Plus and CISA and be done. So what this is based off of is Space Taco was asking like, do you need certifications for GRC? And then also followed that up with the fact that she got into GRC. I believe it's audit, operations technology, OT, auditor. So operations technology auditor, I believe is what it is, with no certification, but she is planning on the Sec Plus and the CISA.
That's a good combo.
Yeah. I wouldn't do any more than that unless like your manager's like, hey, you should go get this one and you can get this promotion or something,
Facts. With those two, you can get a promotion, but I agree.
Oh yeah, for sure. But if they, require some specific,
no, I'm with
whatever.
You. Yeah, that's the duo. A or
Yeah.
P. No, that's it right there.
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, I think it really does depend. Like there are outliers that get in with 0 certification, and I don't
Facts.
feel personally that you should go off and pursue a bunch of certs. Just look at the ROI, which is why I dropped that certification industrial complex that just basically covers the fact that look at the ROI of it. What are you going to get in return? Return on
I mean, when
investment.
you're trying to get into the industry, the only one I really recommend is that Sec Plus, and then just working on hands-on skills and projects and networking. To get in, all you need is the Security Plus. That doesn't mean it's easy, but
Facts.
you don't need, because a lot of the others that are good that you will want later require experience. So,
And I think a lot of people slack on that networking aspect. I see way
Mhm.
more people going through and networking and getting offered roles than applying. I also
Yeah.
saw an article on LinkedIn the other day that actually showed statistics on people using Quick Apply and how some people are like sending 200 Quick Applies a day and they get no interviews. But then, you know, if you're tailoring them out with 10 a day, then, you know, you have a much higher chance at actually getting an interview itself and then trying to prove yourself basically.
yeah.
So,
I mean, definitely take time to, spend the time studying, but I wouldn't study any further than Security Plus as far as certifications go. I would study more on, the hands-on skills and, installing CISO Assistant and Docker or whatever.
yeah, and Luke also mentioned Sec Plus is usually just an HR thing. It's a very, very common HR thing, but then also I think Sec Plus isn't given enough highlight, to be honest. Like it is extremely popular, but it is broad. Like that
Mhm.
is the bare foundations for a lot of it. And like I was a hobbyist for technology for a decade prior, and I was like, oh yeah, the Sec Plus, like no big deal. Oh hell no. Oh hell no. I struggled on that so badly. I went into it way overconfident, but it is very broad and it covers a lot
Yeah.
of topics. Absolute foundations.
I mean, I recommend it beyond HR. You need to learn this stuff anyways. So
Well, and like Luke also mentions, because it's DoD requires it. I don't feel that that's true though, because even outside of the DoD certification, it is, in my opinion, an actual good certification in the fact that the knowledge and the topics that are discussed are the bare minimum foundations.
I agree.
Although I think that is what got it popular, is because the government requires.
Yep, the 8570. Depending on what job you're going, depending on what search you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, hell no. I'm going to have to make that a sound bit on the Discord, huh? Space Talkers.
Facts to Cam God.
Yeah, that Sec Plus was way more difficult than I thought. Welcome to the party, pal, Space Talkers.
Thanks. I just came up to say I screwed up in my last message, but that's all.
Oh, come on.
What did
That's
you screw up? What did you screw up?
Where'd it go?
Um,
No, I think I said I was a member of the IIA, but I was going to get a certification through them, but I didn't finish the thought. I just did ellipses, and that's it. Anyway, hello.
That's cool.
Yeah, and McCoy mentions that they studied for 3 or 4 hours every day for a month for the Sec Plus, which was probably overkill. And then also, Who Is Like God mentions about 6 months with a bunch of labs. I believe they're referencing to the Sec Plus as well. I went into it overly confident. The first week, I went for that Cert Master, which was trash, and I wasted a bunch of money. And then I networked with people and figured out a better method with Professor Messer, a single book, and then I went through the Sec Plus video course through cyber.com as well. And my entire time took 63 days straight, literally full time working on that. And then I think I took like 1 half day, that entire 63 days straight. But I took a practice exam like 30 days in and then rescheduled because I was like not happy with it and so forth. Like, I think it really depends. I've heard people pass it in 3 or 4 weeks, and I've heard others take 6 months. Like,
Depends on your background.
yeah. Let's see here. And then, yeah, and like Cam also agrees the Sec Plus is a beast. I don't think PBO even has the Sec Plus, do you?
I do, but I let it lapse. So
Oh, okay.
yes and no. The weird thing is, I don't think I told you this story. I studied for the CISP, but then they figured out, like my man said, in 8570, I didn't need the CISP. I actually need the Security Plus. So when I missed the CISP, I just took the Security Plus and passed it because it's definitely a superset of the Security Plus. So.
Yeah, and also AB mentions that he was able to do the Sec Plus in 6 days, and he actually has a video for that. I'm actually going to pull it up. I'll drop it in chat here. But yeah, one of the key things around that is, like AB also mentions, is he had a background in the realm prior to.
Facts.
So AB, I think, undervalues himself far too much, to be honest with you. I think he's posted his LinkedIn before and so forth. AB is freaking phenomenal. You guys should definitely connect with him. And he's way more knowledgeable than I feel like he puts off. Yeah, here we are.
Yeah, it took me, I did not have an IT background, and it took me 1 month studying full time to pass the Security Plus. Now, studying full time for me, though, wasn't like reading my study guide 8 hours a day every day. It was, I would study from the study guide, I would mix it up with some practice questions, and then I would play around on Try Hack Me because I'm a very kinesthetic learner. I can't just like sit around studying for a certification all day. So I did a lot of time on Try Hack Me too as well.
Question, B-dubs.
What's that?
How long each day did you study all of those different things? Was it like a 3-hour time, or 6 hours a day, or an hour a day, or what?
I cannot tell you because I do not remember, and sometimes my days
Trauma.
bled together because, well, I was so interested. I was enjoying what I was doing. I wasn't like, it wasn't ever like, oh, I have to go study. It was, oh, I have to go study, So I was like at my computer, I was on Try Hack Me doing different things and messing around, and then I'd get sidetracked by some squirrel and go down a rabbit hole. But all of it was on topic somewhere. It just wasn't always my Security Plus study guide.
Okay.
But I was reading the study guide. I was writing down notes because I'm old school with pen and paper. I've been converting myself since then, but yeah. I spent more than a full-time job on all of it combined. I was addicted.
That's cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Sec Plus is why I actually moved away from handwritten notes. And when I transferred to digital note taking, I got like 60 pages front and back, and I literally could not physically write anymore. But also, like, I went into absolute panic mode because, like, at that time, I literally left my job, and at the time, I was like, oh, I'll just take the Sec Plus and get a position. Good to go. That is not how the world works. But I also didn't have any networking. I didn't have anybody else I knew. I didn't, there's so many different things out there. And that's also one big reason for community.
Shout out
Would
to
have saved me $1,000 in Cert Master, but.
Yeah, right.
You gotta learn how. Do me a favor, Chris. Who's like God saying he's starting a position in the 171?
I'm scrolling up.
You see it?
It took me about 6 months with a bunch of laughs.
No.
Is it above that one?
It's above that one.
Okay.
2006.
PBO's way back there. Bam. Okay. I'm starting a new position next week that has some NIST 800-171 CMMC. Should I go for CMMC certified professional or other assessor certification?
Congratulations on starting a new position, especially in this job market. Shout out to you. I would do the professional and work your way up to assessor. I don't know how much experience you got, but I would just stair step that. Hopefully your job will pay for it. So a lot of times you're trying to get it. Go ahead, chime in. Be done.
I'm going to disagree with you, PBO. I think they got the job. They're starting the job. I think you go drink from the fire hose, get good at your job, and then figure out which cert you need to get. I wouldn't recommend.
If they would pay for one.
Yeah, and make sure they'll pay. But I would not like start a job and be studying for a certification at the same time.
I agree with that. No, you're 100% right. Yeah. I forgot to say, wait till you get your feet wet. So B-Dub is 100% correct.
You got the job, so you're good. Like, you're hired, So now if it was worded differently and you were looking for that job, then I would feel differently. But
no, you're right about that, B-Dubs. like you said, get your feet wet. I've been doing it so long. Now get your feet wet, get in there. And two is they might push you to one or the other too, depending on what type your job is, and they might have a promotional track for you, like B-Dub said. So she's 100% correct. Go ahead, Evan. I cut you off, man.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, yeah, no, just get up to speed with what you got to do on a daily. Make sure you get to that point where you're, rocking and rolling, and then look at getting a cert.
Yeah. Go ahead, B-Dub. Ladies first.
Even when you do have the experience and you're starting a job that you already know how to do well, there's still a lot of learning involved in learning the company and their processes.
Facts.
And so it really doesn't even matter what experience level you are. If you're starting a new position, I would focus on that position.
No, you're right. Because when I come in, they ask me to set that up. But two, who's like Chris interviewed Derek. He's part of CPN. He's real good at the CMMC. I'm thinking about joining their cohort thing. So go check him out on LinkedIn. I might try to find him in and drop it in the Discord. You remember that, Chris? Oh,
yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Are you who's like guy?
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
You don't look shit like your picture, man. Your thumbnail. There's this brother up here with hair that I'm jealous because I don't have hair anymore. I like
Chad Morpheus on deck.
Yeah, but yeah, go out to I find it is Derek. Is it Derek Phillips? Is that his name?
Derek Phillips. He is the owner of Aspire Cyber.
Yeah.
I can drop his information in the Discord and everything else.
Cool guy. I'm usually on his panel. He has Monday. He goes live. I think at Lunch and Learn. I think
so they're doing a bunch of awesome stuff, including like a weekly thing and so forth. The only thing that I've seen is the only thing that I've seen that I'm not really 100% on board with is that, like, especially lately, it seems like he's really pushing the fact that it's 100% entry level and to be expecting like insane amounts of money. I had somebody recently reach out to me with one of his shorts saying, oh, you could just easily hop into CMMC with no experience and be making $50K per audit. Like just to do a pre-assessment and everything else. That is not how it works either. There's a lot of different variables involved and so forth. That is the only thing. I think he is a great dude and everything else. That is the only thing that I would not agree with.
I'm going to reach out to him. My PBO don't like that I'm talking in the third person. I'm going to reach out to him. I don't like that either. But no, I think he's on par like Chris. I haven't seen that, but he's, like I said, I go to his Mondays. I think he's got a Monday noon he tried to do unless he's doing business.
Yeah, and I think it's completely free. You could register with their association for free and everything else. He does like a weekly stream with a bunch of people. I think it's great information and everything else. That's the only thing that was kind of
and he has CMC assessors come on. He had the Google guy because like me and Chris, they were talking about setting up a Google Thin client that'll be CMC certified. Of course, I chimed in there and was like, AWS is better. Go ahead.
And he's a C3PAO. So I'm pretty sure he is the C3PAO as well for his Aspire Cyber company.
Check him out.
I think it's still a valuable group.
Yeah,
did you want to add additional context though?
I got you. I got you. Yeah. So basically, the company I'm working for, it's ITAR as well, but the person I'm reporting to is non-technical. So that's why I was looking at gaining more information on how to actually assess and implement these kind of controls and these kind of information systems. The person I'm going to be basically working with is going to be the CMMC assessor at that point. And anything I need is going to be going through me and him. And then I go right to my my manager and just say, hey, I need this. So I don't know if she's going to be paying for any kind of training. I don't care about that. I didn't even care about the pay for the job. I just need to get the information and the knowledge. And I'll go ahead and reinvest the money into the certification myself.
That's incorrect, young man, but I'm gonna let you get that one, man.
Hey, correct me, please. If I'm doing
you good. I think you got skills. I think you got talent. Don't sell yourself short. PBO fat. He love a good steak, man. If you got the skills and they hired you for a reason. Go ahead, Chris. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it is very common practice. Like, just write it out because you already had the position, but then 2 or 3 months down the line, you could be like, hey, I was looking at this certification and so forth. Like, is this something that you guys would value? Maybe, you guys would cover that and everything else. And this is the value that it would bring. Because also getting the certifications through, I think it's considered an accreditation through Cyber AB. That can add benefits to the org itself. Yeah. So like each organization has to have, like, if they want to go C3PAO, they have to have like a CA or whatever the title is and so forth. So having that conversation later on, like it's pretty common practice.
Yeah, it's not a conversation you should have your first day or your first week, but you know, get your feet on the ground, and then I mean, I agree they should pay for it.
And it's $600 plus a year, so just the lowest end is $600 a year.
Yeah, for that.
So
and, there was one cool guy that did an ITAR video. You should check him out. That would be me.
Shout out to PBO.
Yeah, if you want one, we could drop it in the chat because I was very few. There was an associate of ours. He was trying to do some ITAR, so I did an ITAR video. Because there's very few out there. So crazy thing is I was getting a ton of questions on ITAR on LinkedIn. People were just reaching out to me. I'm like, you should have an assessor at your org. But so yeah.
I just dropped that in the chat as well for the ITAR video from PBO. On our resources page, I think I added some resources for ITAR as well. So I found a couple things on that. Yeah, there's like a checklist or something like that for the ITAR.
Yeah, but I think I had a couple more videos on the ITAR because it's so rare.
Yeah. Let's see.
But once again, congratulations on that. But yeah, check my man Derek out on the CMMC. I'm thinking about starting to do a little more CMC. People's been reaching out to me to do CMC. I'm like, so I've been debating about diving in a little more.
Yeah, I'm grabbing his LinkedIn right now.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Well, I'll take your guys' advice there, and I'll go ahead and drink from the fire hose there for a couple months and get my feet wet. I was just a little bit nervous, mainly because I'm going to be the only person on the ground floor that has any kind of cybersecurity knowledge at all, and they don't even have a certified or basically a compliant MSP. She was wanting me to actually help out pick one, so I'm over here like, trying to figure out what I don't know and try not to land on some landmines.
No, you'd be fine.
They hired you and they know what skills you have and where you're at. They interviewed you, so they should be very aware of that and be willing to help you get up to speed. So
yeah, and I think NIST is a superset of that. So if you got any questions, you can always ping me on some of that. Like I said, it's based on this, and I think 800 is much better than CMC, but that's a whole nother conversation. So you can always ping me, and if I know, I'll tell you. If I don't, I'll be like, nah. But you can always meet. But I think between me and you, we could probably reach out to Derek and get a few things. Like I said, he's in that CMC cohort.
Yeah, Space Tacos also says, PBO going to make NIST jealous out here looking at CMMC. I think that's a misrepresentation, though, because CMMC runs off of 800.171. It is NIST.
Which you know, Chris know what I'm going to say. That's the baby to 800. That's the little cousin. What, it got about 300 checks? Come on, man. That's 300 checks. I could do that in my sleep. You got to step the game.
And especially, like, it does depend on the organization. Maybe they won't be willing to, but it's at least something you can mention later on. But most organizations,
be careful because a lot of times they say, if we do this, you got to stay 2 years, which for me, that's not a lot of time. 2 years is really to get your feet really wet. But I know a lot of younger people freak out. 2 years to me goes by no blinking of an eye, but hell, I'm almost 60. It's almost over for PBO. PBO on the other side of the back nine. But yeah, once again, reach out to me if, like I said, you have any questions. Because like Chris said, I always call it the baby brother to 800. So a lot of that I've done in different forms before.
Well, thank you for letting me reach out to you there. I'll definitely take advantage of that.
I got you, man.
GRC Mafia.
I've been out there all alone before in my lifetime, before there was a Discord, before it was Google. You had to look at manuals. That's how old I am. That's how old I am. So we'll take care of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you might actually survive the 853 being retired.
Who?
Sunsetted.
I'm a boycott. I'm gonna be out there by myself. When you stay NIST
picketing outside of NIST.
Yeah, that's been downsized. I don't want to get too deep in there. Be downsized. Every CMC, that's the first thing. Every time I step on a CMC panel, I always ask them, "Are you more secure with less checks?" I need to stop doing that.
I think the whole CMMC thing really comes about because they weren't even following what they were supposed to in the first place. So yeah,
that don't mean you make it less secure. No, that's bad.
It took what 7 years just to get them to agree to do the CMMC to
You're
begin
right,
with.
because they
with
suck.
less
They
checks.
should have said 800 is it and hit the gavel. We got all this.
And then we lose our whole supply chain for the DoD.
No,
Like,
the big guys though. I don't think we're gonna lose. The big guys gonna eat it, and it's gonna be much more expensive. But that's a good point, though. I'll give you that point.
and then also we have this here too. I'm afraid to take the Sec Plus, so not sure how much longer I'll study before taking it.
I don't know. I make a little more money, so I don't freak out, dude. You can always take it next time. I never freak out, man. And a lot of people fail. You won't be done. I'm not wishing failure, but it's part of the game, man. I didn't pass the CISP, and I've been in this game a long time, and I made a lot of money. So I wouldn't stress out about it. I would find some good test banks that give you a good grasp on where you're at. Then I would take it, man. I wouldn't. If you don't pass it, I wouldn't tell a lot of people, if you don't pass it, just keep it to yourself and keep studying, man. I wouldn't over stress it out, man. Like I said, so that's my 2 cents. Go ahead. I'm pontificating on that.
I would recommend setting a date now. And okay, I'm going to and make it a goal. I'm going to take this test and I'm going to pass it on this day. It's scheduled. I'm not canceling it. So then go take it and just what happens happens.
Facts.
I think
You
I
can only
rescheduled mine
do-
twice or 3 times.
Don't be scared.
You can only do your best. So, work hard and just see what happens. You can take it again.
Yeah.
Even
I
if you
really
tell the
believe-
whole world you're taking it, it's not a failure if you go back and do it again. So
Facts. I don't tell people because it'd be a lot of peer pressure, but I agree with B does. But I'm old now. I don't give a shit about it. But me, I usually just keep it to myself. And I showed up. Yeah, I got 3 AWS certs. So like when you took it, man, I took it last week. Then.
Yeah, like I rescheduled multiple times, 2 or 3 times. And what happened is like at the 30-day mark, I took a practice test. For the Sec Plus, I really do think that the Professor Messer, I think it's $30 for his practice tests. I think that's the most realistic and was the most beneficial. I think you get 2 or 3 of them. And so at the 30-day mark, I took it. I had the exam scheduled like 2 days later, and I ended up getting like in the 70s. And I was like, nah. And so then like the hardest subjects for me was the networking and the cryptography. And so then for the next like 2 or 3 weeks, I primarily just studied those topics because I looked at the practice exam and I was like, okay, these are the ones I failed, and then really like triage that. Yes. And then at that 6 weeks or whatever else, I did the exact same thing where I'm like, I'm at like 85 now, but I want to get it on the first go. So
one of the things that really helped me was so after I used all the resources and studied, I got the $10 last minute review guide from Cert Mike, and literally like a 7-page PDF. And so the last few days before the exam, it's a good summary of everything that I'd already learned. It kind of helps you just pile it all into your brain and have it fresh. So and it's $10, so
yeah,
it's very valuable.
I just Cert Mike CISSP. The only thing I don't like about it, I don't know if it's different for the Security Plus, you only get 1 take on it. I thought I would get multiple takes on this CISP. That was my only issue with Cert Mike.
Yeah. I got the Cert Mike material for the CIPP. I think it's really good.
I didn't use any of his other materials. I literally just used that last minute review guide. And I was studying it the last few nights.
Free videos, and then his practice test that was paid, and then I got a single book from Daryl Gibson. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think the way that he explained and broke it down was really good.
Yeah.
So.
That's the Get Certified, Get Ahead study guide for Security Plus by Daryl Gibson. I used it as well. It was way better than the CompTIA study guide I purchased. I read a couple pages of the CompTIA one. It was terrible.
What about you, Evan? Do you have anything like with your certifications and so forth? How do you tell when you're ready to test out?
Very typically, I found that most of the practice tests for a lot of certs are a little bit harder than the actual exam.
Facts.
So I will I'll continually be, periodically take a practice exam as I go through the studying process. And once I can consistently get like 85 or 90% on a practice exam, then I figure I'm probably going to be good to go.
Facts.
I'm doing that right consistently, like at least 2 or 3, not just, a one-off. Just because of the way, question pools work and whatnot.
Yeah. You got to find, like he said, I found for the AWS, it's a guy, I like his test bank. And like he said, I try to get 85%. They got like 12 tests. So once I start getting 85% on there, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, that's kind of like what my perspective is like 85% or higher on the practice tests. I've seen a lot of people go through on like the studying, and primarily what they focus on is practice tests. That doesn't work for me. I don't like flashcards, and practice tests don't really work for me to learn the topics. So I go through and learn the topics and then use the flashcards and practice tests to gauge where I'm at and then what I need to work on. So that was another thing I was going to mention there. And then also, I think PBO would have some take on this. So Jerry was emphasizing the importance of FISMA for GRC jobs, but I'm not familiar with what FISMA is. Your perspectives are welcome.
Give me 2 seconds. I put in the chat. I'm going to the little boys' room, and I'm going to come back and answer that question. Give me 2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah,
I've been drinking a lot of pop. Give me 2 minutes.
Yeah, we'll circle back around to that. I'm sure PBO's got a video. I've seen a couple of them, but yeah, we'll circle back around to that in just a moment. There's also this one here too from AJ. If you were to be given a role for a senior compliance role with no GRC experience, what are some things you'd recommend to work on so you can leave a lasting impression but be successful at the job? May God be with you.
Facts.
Did you guys have anything to throw in there before I just go shopping for a coffin?
If you have no, I'm hoping what they mean is they have no professional GRC experience, but that they have studied and they have lots of their own hands-on experience that they have, created for themselves. And they do know what GRC is, because if you've got to know what GRC is to be in a senior compliance role, period. So hopefully yeah.
And especially for senior GRC compliance, you're going to be responsible for a lot of the more granular and specific aspects of whatever framework that your company may use, or whatever other compliance requirements you have, whether it's PCI DSS or HIPAA or things like that. You will be, you'll be needing to know a lot of that.
And I have some big questions on, what is your experience? Is this because you're working at that company and they created this role and are like, hey, I want you in it and you're going to have to learn it? Or did they just hire you off the street? Lots of big questions behind that question.
Yeah. And I mean, just like they covered too, is the fact that assuming that you aren't absolute ground zero. I think the biggest thing is I think it's Risk 360 actually has a kit for that. So if you go, I'll try to find it again and drop it in Discord or otherwise, but they have like a CISO 60-day guide. And even though you're going for a senior compliance role, you could still take some of the advice that they provide in there. Like one of the biggest things, and like Jack Scott also, I think, did a LinkedIn post about it, on when you go into a new company or otherwise, one of your key goals for like the first 60 days is to learn the organization. What is their missions? What are their objectives? Like, where do they make their money and what matters to them? And so you really got to kind of feel that out and so forth. And that takes some time. But yeah, senior compliance role could also mean multiple different things depending on the org. So
that's kind of my role. So, with no GRC, like you said, what are your job responsibilities? My first thing is, what compliance are you compliancing on? That's not a verb. I just made that up. Are you FedRAMP, HIPAA, High Trust, FERPA, Pub 1075? Then once you figure that out, then and I think Evan brought that up, then you can kind of figure out, well, hopefully they have a security program and How do you assess it? How you come up with your scope of work? How do you do poems? Are you working with the developers for hardening? CIS level 1, CIS level 2, STIG, schisms. So there's a lot of things that goes in there. If you want to jump in Discord later, me, you, Chris, B-Dub, and Evan, we can kind of talk you through it if you don't want to give a lot of information publicly. So, but that's the thing I do. But once again, I've been doing this forever. What's my compliance framework? Usually, hopefully, they have some SOPs, like a B-Dub says, becoming familiar with how they do business. They should have SOPs, procedures, for you to at least go off of and how to do their program. So, and that will give a lasting impression and just talk with confidence.
Yeah, I just updated the bot message, by the way. I just realized that the badge message has still said @Brixie like we did last week. But yeah, I just updated that message. But yeah, it's just GRC Mafia in the live chat channel on Discord, and you get your GRC Mafia badge for the next week.
Bring up, if you're done ABs. Oh, my fault.
Yeah, I'll pull up ABs in just a second. Yeah, and then AJ says, yeah,
I need to apologize to everybody on the panel. I done gave them work. I said we.
Yeah, I was about to chime in, man.
Go ahead.
Or PBO, booked me out on Discord already without permission.
Facts. I'm old.
Guess my evening's tied up.
Facts. I didn't say today. I didn't say today.
Just let me know when.
And that's a huge factor. Is like the Discord server is really, really valuable. There's so many awesome people. The biggest thing I would recommend is just @BDubs every time or David B.
Facts.
So
and two is
you @BDubs AI. My backup comes in.
Facts. And what Chris does is, because I'm so old, half the time I can't see the damn messages people are sending me. Chris be like,
PBO, we need to have an intervention about you not being active on Discord.
I know. I need to do a better job. That's why I need you, man. Text me.
We're gonna start like snail mail at this point.
I know. You text me, but usually when I come on, Chris will be, can you look at these 4? I'm on it. But Chris will tell you once I'm on there, I'm in there. I'm in there once I get on there.
Yeah, okay. And then here's AB's question if you want to go ahead and tackle that about the importance of FISMA for GRC positions.
FISMA's just, and that's why me and Chris butt heads. NIST 800-53 is voluntary until you have to have a FISMA certification or verification. So really, that's the certification for NIST 800-53. So when Jerry talks about that's the whole program where you got to do policies, procedures, SOPs, plans, BIA impacts from the management side. Then on the technical side, we could do STIG, CIS checks, talk about cloud. The funny thing is, Chris gonna yell at me. The capstone inside my course is FISMA. I did a small FISMA a capstone inside that course. So that's basically what it is. And since there's so many checks inside NIST 800-53, I think that's why Jerry's kind of recommending that. Go ahead, Chris.
And so correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding of FISMA is that it's primarily directed towards federal agencies.
Yes.
And then also contractors as well.
Yes.
So that's like one of the big, it's a the actual act itself. Yeah. So Federal Information Security
Modernization Act. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, unless the organization has to follow that because they're a contractor or a federal agency, like that's not something you'd be dealing with, right?
Yeah. But like we talked about, once you do the first one, like we talked about, if you master that, all the other compliance are going to be easier. I was in my man Jaime's thing answering PCI questions. I've never done PCI, but 853 is so big. I'm like, well, the PCI can answer these. Go ahead.
So in order to get to that point, though, you would have to get on with an organization that actually is contracted or is a federal agency to actually.
Shout out to Evan. You can lab it. All the documentation out there. You read this 800-53 every day. You can make up your own labs. It's just policies and procedures. We can do a lot of that straight out of, and I was going to do that. Make sure Jerry don't fire me, Chris. Do that out of ChatGPT, give my policies and procedures, SOP, and just, this attorney says this, feathered into how your organization works. You can do most of that out of ChatGPT. Then the other part, then we done went through STIGs and CIS checks. That's the technical piece. You just got to get comfortable with doing the whole program. Most people just kind of focuses on a few things like shout out to Space Tacos. You know, she's in the policy, procedure, SOP. I think she's more into that writing phase. PBL don't write well. He tried to stay more into the let's dig it and work with the cloud guys to make sure we harden correctly from a cloud perspective. So I think from Jerry's perspective, it's so big once you mastering it.
Well, and so to track it back to the NIST portion, all it really does is it mandates federal agencies and contractors to run off the 853 and risk management framework with NIST.
And they have 3PLs to come out and certify your org, because I've been through that. It's a monster. That's when I told you we had 10,000 findings the first time we did.
So in your lab and everything else that you're doing, are you going to replicate that process?
I was when I first started, it was so big, I was kind of getting bogged down. So I was kind of trimming it down because, I mean, it's 1,300 checks, man. So trying to get that in a smaller lab. So I was going to do a couple.
has an article for this and a video.
Which one?
That we don't checkbox.
Well, and I was responding to Cyber Stoic over here. We're community built and compliance driven. So I was responding in that we do not check boxes unless they're on my to-do list.
Facts. I disagree a little bit with that, but I know exactly where that comes from. But yeah, so go ahead, Chris. But yeah, I was gonna do a couple policies and procedures, kind of do a one SOP, because when I start doing the whole thing, I'm like, shit, I'm never gonna get this thing done. So trying to chop it down for a lab to make it reasonable.
Yeah, I think that's the struggle point, is that you can go through. There's not really anything out there already as far as like the GRC realm for the labs and projects and so forth. There's a lot of stuff you can do. But also, I think a lot of people also take it pretty far too, because like you mentioned before, is like you've only, I think you mentioned before that you have only like personally handled the final report like twice or otherwise.
Yeah.
So,
because I work for big orgs, and when I don't, shout out to Cam Goddard with Cloud, I tend to write a lot better. When I was younger, I didn't want to write. Quick story, my boss, he's a cool guy. He wanted me to write more to kind of stretch me out. Long story short, the big boss, the CIO, came from DOD. She comes around the corner and I go, Alita, would you let me write the report? She goes, hell no, you can't write. I go, see, man, I stay in my wheelhouse. So I usually do all the information, but shut up. You can easily now put that in cloud with templates. So it's a lot easier now. Because if you go to FedRAMP, giving people secrets, they got templates out there for most of their work. For everything's out there. PIAs, incident response. So they give you templates for everything out there. So now it's a lot easier. Go ahead.
Yeah, and we're giving you a hard time, David B. But like also, I think we all really do get it. Because also like from a compliance standpoint, that's really what you are for the most part doing. You're going through and you're checkboxing your compliance. Like it should go beyond that and everything else, but also in practice, like.
Well, I think he's correct. The checkbox is your first start, but like you said, okay, if you got 3 highs or 3 significants, what is that to risk to the organization, right? So once you checkbox, now you got to say, okay, this risk is out to internal VLAN, so the risk is small. Oh, this shit's reaching out to the internet, so that risk is high, right? So those checkboxes, you got to be able to articulate those into risk for the org. Right. So I think that's where you go from checkboxes to actually adding value as a senior person.
They're a good starting point. The checkboxes are your baseline.
Facts.
And then you grow from there.
But for me, that's kind of moving from junior to middle to senior is what does those checkbox mean? Right. Because you can say, okay, this has a Cat 1, but it's internal to HR. It only needs to be up 3 days a week at the end of the month, so I could put some reserve IPs on it, right? So now, as a senior guy, these are the mitigated controls. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to put some zero trust on it, and that's what I need to put in the report, right? To bring from our 0 high to bringing it down to 1 or 2 because we did these mitigated controls, right? And I think that's where the senior part comes in. Shout out to me.
Yeah, shout out to PPO.
Yeah, I thought that was so good. I had to give myself a shout out. I told B-Dub she gotta love herself more. You gotta give yourself a shout out. Shout out to me. I was killing the game on that one.
I disagree.
I think I'm rubbing off on B-Dubs. Shout out to me. Shout out to me.
Shout out to me.
That's gonna be on my shirt. On my shout out to me. Shout out to me. I did a great job. But no, I think that's the difference. Like B-Dub says, baseline coming up then as a senior. Like we talked about, communicating those controls over to management, C-suite, and auditors who are auditing you, so you can communicate and make sure they understand the risk. They said it's high. We did these mitigated controls. That's why it's a 2, and this is the reason why.
Well, and I think you went too serious with that PBO, because I was responding to David's, community. What was it? Community built, compliance driven. Yep. So I was responding to that. I check boxes when I have to, but it's beyond the checkbox.
No, but what happened is I took that and rolled it up with the FISMA and kept going with the FISMA, right? So
I know.
I grabbed it and ran. When PBO was skinny, I ran a touchdown with it. I was skinny. I was running down and had to spike it.
B-Dub's trying to joke around. PBO's taking it serious.
Oh, yeah, because I had to throw it with the FISMA. I was in the mindset, but now I got what you was doing. I had to put it with the FISMA.
Throwing the DOD handbook at her.
Facts. But no, so I think, once again, like she said, from baseline, senior, medium, and once again, putting that in the FISMA. Let me know if that answers your question, AB. We can always catch me in the Discord if Chris can get me in there again. I got to do a better job.
You're in there, PBO.
I'm in there, but I'm not in there. I go in there like once a week. Then Chris have like, I need you to answer these 10 people. I want it. Chris makes it easy. He puts it in my DM so I can't miss it. So helping the old guy people out. Let me know if that answers your question, AB.
Bam. Yeah, and then we'll start bringing it to an end here in a few minutes as well. So we usually try to keep these to a max of 2 hours, really, to also respect everybody's time, but also not have 4-hour streams. Although we'll see about that in the future. The upcoming State of Study GRC is a big one. Some of you guys in the community have some insider knowledge on some of that, but I think it's a huge pivotal moment too. So
I'm excited for it.
Bam. But definitely leverage community. I think that's what it all really boils down to. Use the Discord server, connect with people on LinkedIn and everything else. It makes it so much easier. Not being out there solo. So
yeah, definitely study GRC Discord. We're in there. I say we, Chris, and Chris sends it to me.
PBO needs his own Discord, but nobody would watch it.
No. I've been everybody. Shout out to Space Tacos. I put some stick stuff in there and her. She was sticking it for a minute. So I'm usually shout out to my man Jaime. I was in the PCI Discord. I'm in everybody's Discord. I was answering PCI questions. I should have had B-Dubs over there with me. Make sure I wasn't answering them wrong.
So yeah, if you guys have any issues on the Discord server, just reach out to me on Discord. My tag's just C Whitlock, or you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn as well. So the entire server itself is open to everybody. But yeah, so we have like several community channels and so forth, and we also have like a voice channel too.
Yeah, AJ. There's a voice channel in there, AJ.
Yeah, so just if you are having an issue, just let us know.
Yeah, facts. There's a couple voice channels in there, ain't there? And maybe I'm.
Yeah, we got a couple of them.
I thought there was a couple in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's even an entire category for the CISSP boot camp. I mean, study group by B-Dubs.
Boot camp, cohort. Yeah.
You mentioned that home lab, Evan. What's the ETA on that? Do we have deadlines?
No.
Wild West Hackenfest.
Don't have anything. Yeah, before I get to Wild West, at least. No, but in all seriousness, I'm hoping to get at least the first couple of episodes out here in the next month or so. We'll see.
I think you should do all recording and then just publish it once a week.
Oh man, I got to figure out exactly how long the episodes are going to be.
Facts.
Because I don't want to break up like one coherent chunk of what you're doing. But also I don't want episodes to just be obscenely long where, it's hard to maintain focus and whatnot. So I got to figure it out.
Publish in seasons. There you go. Problem solved.
There you go. Make it like Game of Thrones, just waiting on the last season.
Oh my God. No, that scarred me, man. I'm bringing up Game of Thrones. I was scarred, man. The wedding still gives me nightmares, man. That was a brutal episode. I haven't even watched the prequel. It just took me out. I was like, that was just too. I wanted a dragon when I grow up, man. So I could just.
Yes.
AJ wants to know if you're available, PBO.
Yes, PBO is available for 10. He's available for 30 minutes after this.
I can't, AJ. Since I'm giving everybody on the panel work, I guess right after that I'll drop in there. Do you see me in there, Chris?
Yeah. There's the general voice chat there. Okay. You guys can just go on a private voice call as well.
Yeah, right after this, AJ, I'll meet you in there.
Bam.
B-Dubs ordered me. The vice president tell me I got to get in there. Shout out to the VP. I got to get in there.
I told you PBO was available.
I'm available.
Yeah, and then also don't forget about the giveaway that's currently ongoing that's sponsored by cyber.com. And then literally you just join the Discord server, go over to the giveaways channel and click the button to participate. The bot will auto draw somebody, 2 people this month at the beginning of next week's meeting. And then also we have our job readiness and group resume review session next Thursday at the same time at 6 p.m. Central. And so if you'd like your resume reviewed, you can submit that through the form at the bottom of our website. Just make sure it's redacted. So if it's not redacted, it does get sent off to VirusTotal for everything that's submitted. So just redact your personal information. You could just replace it with fake information or block it out in a PDF. Otherwise, we will not show it on stream because we don't want to, throw your phone number up there like we had one person do. Like 6 months ago. Somebody in chat actually shared their screen with their PII on there.
Gotta be careful. Gotta redact it. That'll be a new thing. Gotta redact it instead of patch it. Gotta redact it.
Right, exactly.
Gotta redact it.
Final last words, PVO?
No, great stream. I'm jumping there since speed up, so I gotta get in there with my man AJ real quick. No, I think everything was cool. Keep grinding. Don't overcert. I think, people get certs unnecessarily before they're ready. If you already got a job, I agree with B-Dubs. Why you get, if you got certs help you get new jobs, right? So that's it. Everybody have a great Friday tomorrow. If you need me, reach out. If you can't find me, get with Chris. He can find me, man. I'll be struggling in the Discord for the old people.
One way or another.
Yeah.
B-Dubs, final last words?
No, it's been a great open discussion. If anybody needs anything, PBO is going to be in the voice channel right after this in the Discord, so go hang out.
Oh gosh. PBO is going to be, late night, 2 a.m.
Late night AMA with PBO in the Discord.
Yeah. Hold on real quick. Regine, if you need me, she hit me like a month ago. I said, Regine, if you need me, hit me up. I'm struggling. Shout out to Regine. But go ahead. I'm struggling.
Do you have any maybe insider information on what to expect from your channel or anything like that moving forward now that you're done with the CISSP group?
Oh, right now I'm just taking it day by day. I'm working on my website. I have a lot of things to learn. So I'm studying as I work on my website because I'm not a web developer or anything, but I'm hoping to have some better navigation to search through my articles, having things in different collections and whatnot. But yeah, I'm gonna be posting some things soon on my project work and whatnot. So it's coming soon. Yeah.
What about you? Who let Evan in? Any final last words, key takeaways, highlights?
No, none from me. I just gotta knuckle down and keep working on this Home Lab series and hopefully get that out sooner rather than later. This is gonna be my first time actually recording anything, and so I'm figuring out the logistics, and I got to figure out how to write myself a script and all the fun stuff that comes with that, because I'm going to try and make it as decent as I can. And then the plan is later on to go through and also have the same thing in just basically a blog post. So make it easier to Control F, find what you need if you need to.
Yeah. So, it sounds exciting. And just like your presentations, you handle yourself way better than I think you give yourself credit to. That's one of the biggest things that I've noticed. So many of you guys are so knowledgeable and everything else, but everybody second guesses yourself. You are your worst critic, and that's usually true for most people, except for PBO. He might give himself too much credit.
Facts.
Facts.
I got a quick, what channel is he in, Chris? Did you say you saw him in there?
So we'll hop into that general chat. So there's a general VC, and I'll at AJ after we end here.
Okay, I think okay.
You may have to at PBO as well.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll
I see it. I see it. PBO straight.
Yeah.
I see it. Good looking out for me. I'm like, where the hell is he at? Where are we going? All right, I appreciate you. I'll meet you over there.
Oh, hey, it sounds like Space Tacos is going on an adventure.
Okay.
Adventure time.
Space
Anybody
Tacos.
else watch Adventure Time and not have kids?
Oh my God!
I mean,
wait,
I watched-
Chris, you left Simply Cyber? Why? No.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding.
Oh gosh.
Real quick, Space Taco had a question. If you need more NIST videos, I got a few more Space Tacos. If you want me to put them in there, I think I put like 3 in there. I probably got about 15 stick videos. They're old though, but I got them. Go ahead, Chris. My bad. I just sorry.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, it's all about the information and so forth. And before we bring it to an end here, so like David asked, what are some good resources or readings to get started with GRC? Currently working in Blue Team and would like to explore the field more. B-Dubs did drop the resources page that we have developed.
Thanks.
We're always looking for more information on there, but like there's some key NIST documents, there's free courses, there's YouTube videos and so forth. And it's kind of organized in, we're trying to organize it with, free and accessible first mindset, but then also like the videos are categorized in a sorted order of like, oh, this is where you should start first and you work your way down for each of those as well. And we're constantly adding more to that and looking for more to add. But like I would start hitting those YouTube videos that are on that resources page to start with. So yeah, there's some really awesome ones there. And then AB is wondering how to be a successful CFO, B-Dubs.
I don't know. Am I a successful CFO?
Facts. Facts.
I'm yeah.
Oh, this just in. Our attorney said to stop talking. No.
No, I'm joking. Well, I mean, my background is in numbers and whatnot, so that's a good start. I have a bachelor's in math. I like numbers and calculating and whatever. Now accounting, it's a little different.
Right. I kind of agree. You're smart enough, but CFO be doing a lot of shady stuff, man. When the numbers will be adding up crying. Shout out to Enron.
I do
like
my
numbers.
best, but B-Dubs uses an accountant, so.
Facts. I need to get these.
Yeah, straight facts, homie. But yeah, thank you all for joining. So I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. Thank you all for hopping in, GRC Mafia. I will go ahead and do last call for the badge. So you guys have until the top of the hour to grab that, and then I'm going to disable it. So go ahead and grab that portion there, and then also catch you guys tomorrow for the 11 a.m. Central AMA, so every Friday. And then also, I think, let me double check here. So we were also talking, and I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning, but typically we have the AMA every single Friday. I don't believe we're going to do it for 4th of July, though. So on July 4th is also a Friday, and we probably won't do the AMA.
No?
So just a heads up
Why
on
not?
that as well.
Facts.
Because B-Dub said, you wouldn't be available, right? Unless you want to run it.
Did I say that?
Are you going to run it?
I need to double check, but I should be available.
Oh, well, if B-Dubs is available, then skip all of that. B-Dubs is running it.
Facts.
We'll get confirmation.
Well, I mean,
Bam.
we haven't canceled a stream because of a holiday so far. Why start now?
We don't cancel the Thursday streams for holidays. Thursday streams are the, rain or shine.
Okay, fair enough.
Our primary weekly meetings.
I don't think I'm doing anything then.
Yeah, because like we've been literally doing the weekly meetings consistently without missing a single one for like 2 years.
I'll have to verify that, but
of
I don't think I'm doing anything.
Worst case scenario, maybe Space Tacos can run it.
There we go.
Bam.
Facts.
GRC Mafia. Yeah, thank you guys for hopping up on stage. Thanks for all the awesome questions. We had some amazing conversations tonight. Catch you guys tomorrow and see you guys in Discord. GRC Mafia.